Hey everybody, it's me, it's Thor. Welcome back. Great to see you. I appreciate you stopping by. If you're brand new, my name is Thor Jensen. I'm a musician. I live in London. I like to make videos about my experiences through music, and I'd appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. So, the last month has been out on the road with Ashley Campbell supporting her new record, Goodnight Nashville, which came out this summer. And we toured all over England, and then we shot over on the ferry to Northern Ireland, played some shows there, and then drove south into Ireland and played a whole bunch of shows there. And just got back a couple days ago, and I figured I'd make a video in between loads of laundry and trying to get my life back in order. As you can see, there's even more merch behind me now than there was before. And you can't see, but it's just chaos around here as I try to settle back into living life. It was a really, really fantastic tour, really successful, really a lot of sold out shows, really great audiences, some familiar venues, particularly in Ireland, but a lot of new places, and all in all, really a great time. The songs are just so good, and it was just a joy to play them. Great band, Jack Amlin on the drums, Ben Nichols on the double bass, myself, Ashley. Lots of three-part harmony, which, if you've never done much three-part harmony, I really recommend that you find an opportunity to do so. It's humbling, to say the least, and Ashley has a way of creating harmonies that are challenging. A lot of like really close harmony, someone singing this and someone singing this. That's a whole step apart, stuff like that. A good challenge, a really let's put everyone in their place sort of moment. And let's see what else. The good thing about this tour is that nothing really, no catastrophes happened. Nothing. I think the biggest challenge was I lost the phone charger. I think that's the worst thing that happened. A guitar case of mine is no longer usable. That's through no fault of anyone's. Perhaps the case maker, because it's not that old. It's the case is only 18 months old, and it's no offense to the manufacturer. I have two other cases of theirs that I use for acoustic guitars, and they're great. But this Telecaster case has decided to spread apart just enough to let the elements in. The guitar didn't get wet or anything, but this guitar was basically eternally cold unless I taped the case shut. So the last week of the tour, I wasn't able to use my Telecaster. Worse things have happened. I brought a second guitar, so I used my my beautiful trusty Healy, and it did the job, it beautifully, because it's a wonderful guitar. So that's really the most catastrophic thing that happened. And if that's the worst thing that happens, then I figure that's an extremely successful tour. I used some newish gear on this tour, which was I consider brave of me. My pedal board was nothing really out of the ordinary. I've shown my pedal board here before, and I'll show it again. A couple of things changed, but really the same as the last pedal board video I did, which I'll link somewhere here. The amp was so quick backstory. I had every intention of using the amp that I did bring, but then I changed my mind, and then it proved that I needed in fact to use it in the long run. So I went back to my original choice of the Victory V4 Duchess. So, as I've talked about the amp before, but it's a pedal-sized tube amplifier. It's got Class D power. With I think there's 3 or 4 tubes in there. I don't remember which, and I don't remember what type they are. if I'm being perfectly honest. Not your run-of-the-mill 12AX7s or anything. And I've used that on tour before with Postmodern Jukebox, but I went direct with it because it has cab sim out. But this time I used it with a cabinet, with a Victory LB112, which I also did a video on, linked somewhere. And it's a small, compact, lunchbox size 112 cabinet. And when I first got it, I very much didn't like it. And that's no fault of theirs. It's just, I have never owned a brand new guitar speaker before. So to have a brand new speaker was a bit of a shock to the system as far as the frequencies. And it sounded, frankly, quite gross to me. But that's just because it was brand new. I replaced the speaker with something I was more familiar with just to eliminate that element. I wanted there to be something familiar in there, even if that familiar thing was also going to be brand new. So I put a Eminence Cannabis Rex in there, which is what I have in my 2 combo amps. Or 2 of my combo amps. I always forget about my Champ. No offense to my Champ. So I put a Cannabis Rex in, and for days leading up to the tour, actually a couple of weeks, I would play music through that speaker to help break it in. I would turn it upside down on the floor and play. Got a little cassette player, and I was just playing cassettes through it, which helped it along. And then after about a week of gigs, the speaker finally broke in. And then it was great. I had every intention on using a combo that I have, my Brown Panel Deluxe-ish copy that I have, which is made by Round Sound in Troy, New York. But I used it on the first gig, and frankly, it was just the wrong sound for the band. It sounded great at rehearsal, but when the lessons always happen on the bandstand. So it didn't sound bad by any means, but it's an open back amplifier. And our stage volume was so low that having an open back speaker actually just sort of washed everything out in this way that I didn't care for. So I went with the Victory, and it was great. It took some getting used to, it being a closed back cab and all. I had to really put some thought into where I placed it on stage and where I stood so I can hear it the best. But it was great. My biggest qualm with the Victory is that it has a really nice, beautiful sound to it, but it's far more hi-fi than I'm used to. And so there's this sort of sheen to the top end that is hard for me to hear past. So what I did was I set up I've got a JHS Charlie Brown, which I picked up right before the tour started. And I basically left it flat with the gain extremely low. And that helped sort of soften the edges. And I just left that on the whole time. That was I put that in a position on my board, so it was like the last gain stage. Acting sort of as a preamp. And that helped quite a bit. Moving forward, I might find a different solution. I'm not sure what. For the time being, this will work just fine, but if I could take a pedal off my board, I'd rather do that. So I don't know. I'm going to play around with the Victory and see what I can do. And maybe it won't be the Victory. Maybe it'll be something else. But once upon a time, I had a Milkman the amp, which I loved a lot. And I sold it when I moved to the UK because, frankly, I needed the money. So I've thought about tracking one of those down again. We'll see. But no real complaints about the Victory. Again, it sounds wonderful. I like the reverb on it. Because it has reverb on it, I was able to use my Strymon Flint as an effect as opposed to using it as my always-on reverb, which was nice. But yeah, that's about it. I've got a fun story I'm going to tell in another video. I got to meet someone pretty cool when I was in Ireland, or at least I think it's very cool. And if you play acoustic guitars, you probably think it's pretty cool too. But I don't want to assume. I think it's cool. But it's nice to be back and nice to be back into the swing of things. And I hope this finds you well. And please stay tuned for more videos on the way. until next time, I'll see you.